Welcome back to the CNR Podcast. And today we're doing the Maine Report, episode 79. I'm Griffin Aldrich. Alongside me, we have Andrew Quinn, and we have a very special guest today, Evans Boston. Thank you for joining us, and it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast with the Maine Celtics today. You want to just really quick give a little intro about yourself and what your role is in the Maine Celtics?
Sure, absolutely. A very special guest. That's quite the introduction. I like that. My name's Evans Boston. I'm Senior Director of Public and Community Relations with the Maine Celtics. I've been with the organization for 11 years now. So kind of seen a little bit of everything all the way back to the Maine Red Claws. So not quite back to the beginning of the franchise, which was 2009, but I've been there since 2014. So seen a lot, fun job, really enjoy it.
Yeah, and my first question is too, how did you end up with this job with the Maine Celtics? Because you mentioned haven't been here since the beginning, but kind of hopped into the position. How'd this all go about?
I started in the world of broadcasting. I am from Maine, went to York High School. It was very apparent when I was in high school that I was not going to be a star athlete. But I still wanted to be involved in sports in some way. So I went to college. I went to Syracuse University, Newhouse School of Public Communications, and I studied journalism there, broadcast journalism. And I went into broadcasting starting in college. Actually interned at Channel 8 when I was in college back here in Portland. And then, back in college, I was working at the student radio station, W8ER, which is, supposedly known for, producing a lot of talent, but a lot of my friends are still in broadcasting. I went to school with Anish Shroff. Him and I are good friends at ESPN, also does the Carolina Panthers play-by-play. Jason Benetti, people like that. We were all Jeff Passan. We were all at school together out there. And so I knew I wanted to get into broadcasting. I was the sports director at the student radio station when I was out there. That happened to be Carmelo Anthony's 1 year, my senior year. So that was good timing. We won the national championship. So I was able to broadcast the national championship in the Final Four for the student radio station, which was obviously the opportunity of a lifetime. And getting out of college, I wanted to get into TV. So I went the local news route. I was a sports anchor for about 10 years, bounced around the country at a couple of different stations, eventually got a job back in Maine and Bangor at Channel 7. That was like 2006. I was there for a couple of years. Then I got the job at Channel 13. I was working with David there for 7 years, 2007 to 2014, which was a lot of fun. I don't know if you know Dave at all. He's a great guy. We had a great time there. Thought I'd be there forever, to be honest with you. Thought I'd be the next Bruce Glacier or the next David. Ultimately, that didn't work out. And in 2014, they told me they didn't want me to work there anymore. And so I didn't really know what I was going to do. But I had this relationship with Bill Ryan, who owned the Maine Red Claws at the time. I knew Bill from covering the Red Claws since year one. I was at opening night 2009, and he also owned Oxford Plains Speedway. So the Oxford 250 is a huge race, huge car race around here. So I had a good relationship with him. And he actually called me and said, "Hey, I heard you're looking for a job. We have this PR opening. I don't know if it's something you might be interested in." It was really a right place, right time situation. I went in and talked to Bill and DeJuan Eubanks at the time. And, I was lucky enough that they offered me the job, and I've been here ever since. That's pretty much my story.
That's awesome. Yeah. Everything happens for a reason. And funny you say about Carmelo Anthony. One of my buddies right now is actually working as like a manager right now at Syracuse. So now he's with Kean Anthony, his son.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah.
So it's funny how that works out.
It's full circle, and it makes me feel unbelievably old. Like Carmelo is now in his first year at Syracuse.
Yeah,
I was in college. Carmelo was in his first year.
Right. No, it's crazy. Cool to see him following footsteps, though, and keeping that culture. But
yeah, definitely.
Now that we understand kind of your background and how you got into it, now it's obviously you're in the thick of things right now with this season, really, really rolling, and they're playing amazing right now, 9 straight. But what does like a typical day look like for you when you go to a Maine Celtics practice or just in general?
Yeah, game days are obviously the busiest days. I'm talking about home games. Those
sure.
are really long days. Get to the expo about 10 a.m. for the morning shoot arounds. Both teams have a shoot around in the morning, typically for a 7 o'clock game. So get there around 10. And I'm usually there till about 10, 11 at night, doing all the setup. I oversee the scorers table area on game nights. So I have to set up that area. So I got to make sure that's all set up. And then I have to oversee the stats during the game. So I have to make sure we have a whole crew of people that are inputting stats on these computers during the game. If you ever go to the expo during the game, you'll see them. They're sitting in the second row right behind the scorers table. There's all these laptops open and they're going away like this the entire time, not really looking at the game. They're doing data entry, basically inputting all the stats. I have to verify that those are 100% accurate. The NBA doesn't allow any errors at all in terms of the stats because it's very important for the scouting and all that type of thing. So I have to do that during the game. Additionally, any media requests, reporters that come to want to cover the game, want to talk to a player pregame or postgame. I'm overseeing our social media during the game, live updates, score updates, posting highlights. And I have a team that's working with me on game nights that helps make that happen. I'm also the producer of the broadcast. So I'm sitting right next to play-by-play and I'm helping them, feeding them stats, feeding them their promo reads and things of that nature. So it's a lot going on, a lot of multitasking, but those game days are very, very busy. Non-game days, it's a little bit more of preparing for game days. Maybe if there's a practice, same thing, going and capturing content at practice. Maybe
dealing with guys like us,
guys like you show up at practice, right? Exactly. So fulfilling those media requests and things like that. And then, maybe most importantly is coordinating and executing our community engagement, taking a player out into the community and doing something there or setting something up for the future, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's definitely something that like we're actually going to ask later on, but I might as well bring it up now. Being in Maine and you have Maine ties, obviously, you understand how important the state of Maine is to the people that live in it. I mean, it's part of their identity. They really hold it close to their heart. It's a lot of values that come from Maine and a lot of people want to keep Maine to itself. They want to hold it close, and the tourists come in sometimes. They're like, oh no, but how do you embody the state of Maine and make sure that you represent it through media and through social media and all those aspects that cover your role?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think first and foremost, even before I joined the organization, I think one of the things they were very forward thinking in was naming the team Maine Red Claws rather than Portland Red Claws, because they wanted to embody the entire state of Maine. They want to represent the entire state of Maine. Our team president DeJuan says it all the time. We're not Portland Red Claws. We're the Maine Red Claws. We represent, all regions of the state, and we make a real effort to try to get around to all corners of the state. It's hard to get up to, say, Aroostook County during the season, but in the summer we'll get up there for our clinic series and things of that nature. So yeah, it's really important. It's an important thing. Quite frankly, like when we made the rebrand from Maine Red Claws to Maine Celtics, that was a real concern, and we really had to be really careful with how we did that because people love the Maine Red Claws. They love the name, the Maine Red Claws. It was like a Maine thing, and the connotation of Boston coming up and taking over a Maine thing,
right?
Which obviously is a great thing. Being a part of the Celtics organization is incredible.
It's awesome.
But to the casual fan, they say, "Oh, great! Here comes some more people from Massachusetts." Right?
Exactly.
So we were really, really, thoughtful in that when we went through the whole rebrand process, and it's something we think about all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I kind of want to add on to that, and this is a question we are going to ask later too. But how would you describe the Maine Celtics fans and what really sticks out with them too? Because I tell you what, every time I'm at the expo, it's packed and it's a smaller place, but it's always booming. And we've talked about this with the players and everyone. It's just a great environment.
Yeah, the Expo, the seating capacity, the layout of the arena is perfect for the G
It's
League.
awesome.
It's absolutely perfect. There are other teams that play in giant arenas, and they have probably the same amount of fans that we do, but it looks like nobody's there, and there's no atmosphere. And it's and honestly, there's also a lot. If you watch a lot of the G League, there are a lot of arenas where there's nobody there, and their fan base is non-existent. That is not the case here in Maine, and it's something we take a lot of pride in. We do have the best fans in the G League. Like, it's not even close. There are a couple of teams that do really good, but day in and day out, no other team packs the arena like we do, with fans that actually care about what's going on with the team. They care about the players. They care about the outcome of the game. They're not just there to have, a fun time with their family. We have like rabid fans that are fans of the Celtics. Obviously, being, in a relationship with the Boston Celtics is huge, especially nowadays. So that obviously helps, but our fan base is second to none.
Yeah, and I want to kind of add too, because one thing I see when I'm there is people have their face painted in green and everything. It's a great environment. And now I want to kind of jump ship to the roster this year and kind of what they look like. How would you describe the talent right now on the Maine Celtics roster? Just won 9 straight, and they are rolling right now. But how would you describe the talent with the team?
So good, like top to bottom. There are years where we'll have, our two-way players are awesome, but the rest of the roster is, okay. And then, because we have such talent at the top, we're able to have a successful season. But this year, everyone on the team is contributing. You mentioned the 9-game winning streak, franchise record.
Great.
A couple of those games, our two-way players weren't even there. The 2 games in Westchester, we had 0 of the 3 two-way players and still won both of those games going away. Yesterday's game in Capital City, we only had Max Shulga, still won the game going away. Everybody is contributing to this team, and that makes it a really fun team to watch and a fun team to root for. During this winning streak, there was a play at the Expo where 4 of the 5 guys dove on the floor for the ball. And you just don't see that in professional basketball, like anywhere. And as soon as that happened, the crowd got on its feet. It was like a standing ovation in the arena at that moment. Like, people really bought into this. This team is really trying hard, and they want to win. And it starts at the top with head coach Phil Pressey. He's been outstanding in his first year as head coach, in my opinion. He's gotten the players to buy in. He's a former player himself. So he has that, credibility with the players, and it's just been a great start to the season. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I heard you say he gets players to buy in and embody what this organization is. At times, obviously, you guys are having players move out, get contracts, and there's a lot of shifting going around. How do you guys operate around that, making sure you still keep consistency with like the branding and the relationships, but then also, promote moving up and having a player move on?
Yeah. The one thing that's consistent in the G League is change. Like, the roster is always changing. Right. We've already had roster changes this year. Wendell Moore got called up 2 games into the season. He's gone for the year.
It's crazy.
So credit to our general manager, Jarrell Christian, who's been around for a few years now. He actually used to be our head coach as well. Finding the players and bringing them in. We just acquired Keon Johnson, NBA veteran.
Yeah,
he's with the team now.
Phenomenal.
He's been unbelievable.
He's probably. I'd assume he's probably going to call up. He just looks like man among sports, to be honest.
Yes. He's very gifted offensively and defensively. So athletic, and it's one of those guys where you get him and you see him the first time, and you're like, why isn't this guy on an NBA team? Like, what's the story here? Like, he's unbelievable. So, they've done a nice job with the roster. In terms of like marketing the team, like, we really take pride in when those guys get called up. Like,
I think
Jordan Walsh has been incredible for the Celtics in the last few weeks, and that has made us so proud. He played almost the entire season with us 2 years ago. And so to see him succeed at that level, and he's not the only one, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, all those guys that came through our organization, we take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the amount of guys that have come through this organization and have developed and really are making an impact at this next level. It's awesome to see, and speaks dividends on what you guys are doing over there, which is awesome to see.
Yeah. And it's not just with Boston, the G League in itself. I mean, more than half of NBA players have played in the G League now at this point. I don't know if people realize that like 13 of the 17 guys on the current Boston roster have played in the G League.
Right.
13 of them. Like the only ones that didn't are like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Peyton Pritchard. I think those are the only three.
Yeah.
And Hugo, who is a rookie this year. So those are the only guys. So it's really incredible what the level of play is in the G League.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just so helpful because it just brings it. I mean, from watching the practices, it showed like Presti's obviously implementing plays and teaching the structure of the offense that the Celtics are utilizing and just growing in there and having time to develop and not rush into things. I mean, you see it in the Celtics, but you also see it sometimes across multiple different avenues of sports, even in the football realm, where you rush a quarterback in and they don't know the plays, and then mentally that messes them up, and then they're screwed. So it's cool to see that even steady progression. But Griffin, sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, you mentioned Hugo Gonzalez too, and I wanted to kind of ask a question about that now is, did you guys expect to see him come to the Celtics? And, one thing I look at too is like, how does that kind of incorporate into the roster? Like if he were to get sent down, by example, like how would you guys prepare for that? And because that's the part of the G League that I find most interesting is at any point in time, a player could go down to get some reps and stuff like that. How do you kind of prepare for that?
Well, we would love to have Hugo, put it that way.
Same here.
He has looked so good, in the early going. So we'd certainly welcome him on the team. Let's say hypothetically they assign Hugo to the Maine Celtics. Yeah. Typically what that looks like is they would come right in, join the team for practice. And like you said, we're already implementing the same offense and defense. So it's really seamless when they come down to Maine that, they should be able to jump right into the offense. Now, typically when that happens, they might be on a minute restriction. They might say, hey, you can only play 20 minutes this game or only 30 minutes, whatever the case may be. Or sometimes they say, let him go, like whatever. And ultimately it's up to the head coach how much they want to play, whether he wants to start and that type of thing. But they do want him to play. So that usually takes away some minutes from a G League player. But it's, I think everyone understands that process.
Yeah. Well said right there. And I completely agree on that part too, with what you said. Like, it does take away from other G League players, but like, I think the beneficial thing is it's helping the NBA team, which is designed to do in the G League. But I want to ask this question too, and Andrew, you go after. Why is the G League so beneficial for the NBA? And this is one that a lot of people might not know, because to kind of shine more light on the G League, why is it so beneficial?
Well, the rosters are very small in the NBA and the rotations are even smaller. A typical NBA team is only playing 8 or 9 guys at a time. I think Boston's a little bit of an anomaly the way Joe will just throw someone in at random. But those guys on the end of the bench, they get rusty. And so really to assign them to the G League and get them some real playing time, there's nothing. You can practice all day long. There's nothing like playing in a game. Like game gets you in game shape, they call it. Nothing compares to playing in games. And so to have that opportunity to develop players by getting them playing time, and then the advent of the two-way players several years back, now you got a guy who can bounce back and forth from the G League and the NBA. And that allows those players to develop even more by playing mostly in the G League, but also in the NBA when needed. That really helped NBA rosters, and it helped the G League because it was an influx of talent at that point. These are guys that are probably going overseas because they're just not quite good enough to make an NBA roster. Now they're on an NBA roster on a two-way contract, and so that really paid a lot of dividends for the G League.
Yeah, I love how you said that too, right there with, it's the fact that guys are perfecting their craft too and helping them advance their game to play a bunch of minutes in the NBA. But Andrew, go ahead with your next question. Oh, you're on mute, by the way, Andrew.
My apologies. I got someone snow plowing outside, so I'm trying to, we're in Maine, so the snow plowing it might cause some disruption. So I went on pause. But so obviously being so close to with all these guys and you're working with them in media and all the players, we had a chance to interview Ron Harper, Jen Bridges, and Ron was great. I mean, he was engaging. He seemed to be he was willing to really answer a lot of questions and get deep, get personal. Are there any like good memories so far, or are there any like personalities that over the course of your career you came across that really, really made a real impact on you? And because I think a lot of this times it's like you come to the G League and maybe you're not necessarily, you're like, man, I want to be in the NBA, right? Like this is not always the ideal spot for you, but maybe a guy says, I'm going to accept this run. I'm going to do what I can. Have you had any of those guys come through?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say JD Davison first and foremost. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who was drafted by the Celtics late second round. It was, understood he was going to be a two-way player. This was a project guy. They wanted to see him develop, and he came in really young, and he was, I think 19 when he joined the team. And, he was young, and, I would assume he did not want to be in the G League at that point. He wanted to be in the NBA. He felt like he deserved it. He had unbelievable natural ability, but he needed to develop his game. And, he didn't even start that first year with Maine. People don't even remember that. He did not even start and came off the bench, and, we had a pretty good season. And then he came back the next year and he was like totally focused. They told him to get into better shape. He came in incredible shape, and he was awesome. And we went to the G League finals. And then he came back last year and he was the MVP of the league. He was even better. So that was a real success story in terms of development. In addition to, the guys that are on the Celtics now, Jordan Walsh, Baylor Shireman, Sam Hauser, those were real success stories. On a personal level, Luke Cornett was a lot of fun to be with.
Yeah,
hilarious guy. And we take a lot of, when he signed that contract with San Antonio, obviously we're bummed that he's not on the Celtics anymore, but we're also so psyched because he put in so much hard work. He was not a two-way player. He was just a regular G League guy playing for us. And then he turned that into now a long NBA career. So that was a real fun one as well. And on the coaching side, we've had a lot of great coaches. Joe was a coach here with us. That was a lot of fun that year. He was an assistant coach on that team that we went to the conference finals, I think, that year. So we go way back, and we've had great coaches come through, and all of them have gone on to bigger and better things.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. And a guy like Luke Cornett, it just shows. I mean, it must draw guys into the organization because you see that the time that the Maine Celtics puts into developing those players, and it's clear. There's proof in the pudding of the success that you guys have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got a lot of success stories, and you look at the NBA roster, and you look at around the NBA, there are a lot of guys that have developed in Maine that are now at the next level. So that's definitely a good
just puts that pedigree. Yeah, right.
Yep.
Recruitment. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And I kind of want to ask some questions about the Maine Red Claws, because you mentioned you were there with the Maine Red Claws and the transition over. How was the transition over to the Maine Red Claws? I'm from the Maine Red Claws to the Maine Celtics. How is that for you guys as an organization?
We like to call it the greatest day in franchise history when that happened. It was we went from basically like black and white TV to full color TV. We were doing great. It was a great organization, had a lot of fun, but all of a sudden now we were part of a big company that was worldwide known, and it was a very exciting time for us. We found out it was happening. We went down. There was a company summit down in Boston. All the Celtics employees were there. It's like a start of season type little get together where everyone gives sort of it's like a State of the Union type thing for the organization. And we go down there. We take our team van down. I think we were 10 full-time employees at the time. We walk in there, and as soon as we walk in, they gave us a standing ovation. And they were like, welcome to the organization, welcome to the family. From ever since then, it's been, nothing but positive. They help us out with resources. They help us out with, anything that we need. And so it's like they treat us as though we're, working day to day in Boston with just like them. So it's really been, an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, and I kind of want to ask another question, because every time I talk to a Maine Celtics fan, they're talking about Taco Fall. How are the Taco Fall days at Expo?
Well, that year was ridiculous. We didn't have to do a lot of marketing. Put it that way.
Save some money.
The tickets sold themselves. That was crazy. We found out that they were going to – Taco was in Celtics training camp. He was not on a two-way contract. And we found out that they were going to waive Max Strus and sign Taco Fall to the two-way contract. We were like, oh, boy, here we go. Like, get ready. This is going to be crazy. And it was. People coming out of the woodworks, tickets – flying off the this was before the Celtics purchased us too, if I remember. No, it's not. No, it wasn't. It was our first year with the Celtics. So luckily we had their support because we definitely needed it in terms of help with media. We got 60 Minutes came to the expo, Sports Illustrated, you name it. ESPN, Jackie McMullen was there doing something for, for ESPN Countdown, NBA Countdown, whatever it's called. So it was crazy. And, just a larger than life guy, 7'6", crazy time. It was a lot of fun. And that was the pandemic year too. So like the season was cut short. Unfortunately, we definitely would have won it all that year. We were so good that season, but the season was canceled. So that was a real bummer.
That's hard.
I remember the infamous Tremont Waters picture with Taco Fall that they recreated with.
Yes.
That was
we did that. So like it was the Manute Bol Muggsy Bogues photo where they're holding like 3 basketballs, and Muggsy Bogues was 5'3" and Manute Bol was 7'7" or whatever he was. So we recreated that at our media day. And I remember I got the 3 basketballs out and I said to Tremont and Taco, all right, we want to take a photo of you together. And Taco said, are we going to do the Manute Bol photo? He knew what we were going to do. So then we were able to do it. I think that's I think that photo is our most engagement photo on in social media, like to this day, when we posted it. So it was quite a phenomenon. Yeah, we were just a part of it.
That's insane. I bet I wonder if like at times you're trying to set up the camera and you're trying to get an interview with, say you're in Taco's all the way up there and your interviewees are down here. It's like, how do we frame this?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I remember from my TV days when, interviewing someone really tall, sit them down. Hey, sit down in a chair.
Sit them down. Yeah. Take a rest. Yeah. You've been running up and down the court doing a lot. Take a rest. Rest.
Yeah. I even have to say, I'm pretty tall, and when I've been interviewing the players, when we sit down, it looks a little bit better. If we were standing up, I'm gonna look like a little person. I'm not gonna look small.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, they are larger than life, no question about
it. I think we're getting close to the finish, but being from Maine and being growing up here, what are your kind of favorite things about Maine aside from basketball? What do you like to do in Maine? Any restaurants that you're like what are hobbies you do here in Maine?
I like to play golf.
Nice.
I like going up to camp and just hanging out in the summertime. Big skier. My family all skis, so we go skiing a lot, mostly Sunday River or Sugarloaf, mostly Sunday River.
Yeah.
So, and other than that, coaching my kids' basketball and baseball teams.
There you go.
But that keeps me busy enough for sure. Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Nice.
And my final question before we close is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to work in the same position as you?
Or just within the media sphere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to put in the work, and be prepared to work really long hours. It's a lot of work, but the payoff is worth it. It's a lot of fun and really rewarding.
Well, again, thank you so much, Evans Boston, for joining us on today's episode of the CNR podcast. With that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys with the next one. Peace, guys.